When thinking about your mockup that you're going to create inside of Photoshop, you want to be aware of what the end product's going to be. Remember, you have to create an HTML document that uses CSS to control the appearance of certain elements. If you have some basic elements graphically within your mockup, you may want to consider, if possible, using an icon font to represent those elements. Things like search icons or social icons can be easily reproduced by an icon font. What's the advantage of an icon font? Well, you're not using images. Remember, images take up file size. Because it takes up file size, it requires more bandwidth to deliver to the end user. If you can avoid some of that, you're going to create a more efficient website. Additionally, icon fonts are typically scalable. So if you have to increase the size of a particular icon, all you have to do is choose a new font size. You don't have to recreate the artwork in any way. So let's go ahead and take a look at some popular icon fonts that are out there. The first is my most favorite. It's called Font Awesome. It can be found at fontawesome.io. We'll come back and talk about Font Awesome in greater detail in just a minute. But there's also another good resource called Genera Icons, which can be found at generaicons.com. And here you can see all the different icons that are available. And you can copy the CSS, you can copy the HTML, and you can also copy the glyph. You can also download these elements. Another resource is Glyph Icons, and it too gives you the ability to download these assets. There's a Glyph Icons Pro package, which is $60 that gives you access to even more elements. But let's return back to Font Awesome. What you want to do is download the font by clicking this download button. Now, I already did that. Once you download it, what you need to do is open up the zip file, and inside the zip file, you'll find the different fonts, and you want to install that font. Whether you want to install the OpenType or the TrueType font file, that's up to you. But you would install this font just like you install any other fonts. And once you do that, you can then start working with Font Awesome inside of Photoshop. Font Awesome has something on its website called the cheat sheet, and you can find it at fontawesome.io/cheat sheet. And this will show you all the different icons. And as you scroll through these, you can find ones that you want to use. So it's fairly common to put social icons down in the bottom footer section of the site. So let's go ahead and do that by adding social icons to the wireframe. Here we can see a Facebook square. What you want to do is click and drag your cursor over it to select it and then copy it. I'm going to go ahead and right-click and copy. You could also use the keyboard shortcut. Then let's come back to Photoshop. Inside of Photoshop, you want to scale down towards the bottom in the footer area. I'm going to go ahead and zoom into this area. Then I'm going to choose the Type tool. And with the Type tool, I'm going to click, and then I'm going to paste. Once you paste, you'll see this little X. You'll also notice that it was placed within the main directory here in the Layers panel. Let's go ahead and address that first. I'm going to click and drag this above all the layer groups, and I'm going to create a new layer group, and I'm going to go ahead and call this Footer. Then we can place these social icons within the footer. Now that that is organized properly, come back and choose the Type tool. With this layer selected, all you have to do is choose the Font Awesome font. And as I type that in, you'll notice it becomes highlighted. Tab away from it, and then the Facebook icon appears. You want it to be larger? Change the size, and it's larger. You want to change the color? Let's go ahead and make it blue. Go ahead and do that. It's now blue. So this is pretty powerful. We have this scalable element now, and if we ever need to change it, we just change the character associated with it. So there's the Facebook icon. We could come back to Font Awesome's website, to that cheat sheet, and find another social icon. I guess we can go with Twitter. This is alphabetical, so you should be able to find it pretty easily. As I scale down, eventually I'll find Twitter. Here's one right here. And there's a couple different versions of Twitter. Here's the little bird. You could also go with just the T. You'll see that there's all sorts of different options for this icon. So here's this bird, and there's also this bird. I'm going to go with this one here. I'll go ahead and click and drag. I'll copy it. I'll return back to Photoshop. Again, I'm going to choose the Type tool. With the Type tool, Font Awesome is already selected, so I'm going to go ahead and paste this now, Control-V or Command-V on the Mac. And of course, I'm going to want to change the color of this to a darker blue. I'll click OK, and then I'll go ahead and position it. So there you go. Pretty easy. And you can continue to do this. You could add a Pinterest icon, you could add a LinkedIn icon, a YouTube icon. It's completely up to you. But these icon fonts ultimately give you the ability to work with these icons without adding much weight to the design of your site.